Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and thank you for deciding to tune in to watch another preview boxing show. This, I have to say, is the latest I've been doing of boxing preview shows. Usually, I have a preview show done by a Wednesday night. Been a busy time, but no excuses. We're here now, and it would be criminal of me not to be doing a preview show on a night that is packed with good boxing, really good boxing. This is all boxing fans really want. They want to be able to watch good quality fights, and we've got some cracking fights on tonight, and from the UK and across the waters in the US, some good fights featuring some boxers that have been featured on Bayloric TV. So before I begin, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. And you'll be able to know when the live shows are on. Given I know in the UK and Europe there's a lot of football or soccer matches on at the moment, so I don't expect many people to be watching this live stream, but afterwards they'll get to watch the recording. So yeah, I just decided to take the opportunity now to do that. Let me think, and what's I'm going to talk about first. Right, we're on the verge of hitting 1 million views on the Bayloric TV boxing channel. So we've got to thank you, the people out there that are supporting and watching the show. We appreciate that. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching the interviews and your feedback. We do appreciate it when it's positive and when it's constructive criticism. We appreciate it. So let's crack on. There's a night of boxing, and wow, so many fights on, so many fights. As a boxing fan tonight, you're drooling. Some of the fights we don't even know the outcomes of. It's always nice to sit down and watch an evening of boxing where you're not quite sure who will win. You think to yourself, maybe he'll win, maybe he might not win. This guy's looked good coming into the fight, not so sure. Whereas there's a lot of fights on promoter shows that are sold as 50-50 fights. And you know as well as I do as boxing fans, they're not 50-50 fights. They're just sold to the as we know, the casual public who don't know much about boxing. And we get 1 and 2 round blowouts or unanimous decisions in fights. We damn well know who's going to win the fight. This weekend, there's the possibility of some upsets. You know, there's possibilities of some great fights, some good star matchups. So yeah, I'm quite excited, really excited. Really excited. Okay, let's kick on. First of all, want to give a massive shout out to a man in the UK that I don't think gets enough publicity. I don't think gets enough credit. And I don't think there's a lot of fighters in the UK that get more credit than this guy. And this guy is a better technical boxer than a lot of them. The man I'm talking about is Liam Walsh. He'll be fighting in Box Nation. And I have to say, Liam Walsh, I followed this guy's career for a while. He can switch hit. Guy from the UK, you know, confident guy. I think he styles more like American rather than European. Switch hitter, fluid, boxer puncher, mixes it up nicely. He can box, you know, he can box and he fight on the inside, fight on the outside. You know, orthodox southpaw, mixes it up, like him, good fighter. Problem with Liam Walsh for me, not consistent enough. And this, in terms of amount of fights, he's still undefeated and injuries. But I think this guy, I've said it for a long time, injury free, and I hope that his injuries, he's gone the other side of his injuries, and now he's, you know, he can be consistent and get a run going again. I think this guy could go on to beyond European. I think this guy could go on to world honors. I really do. I believed this for many years about Liam Walsh. This guy could go on to world honors. I don't know. He's getting a little older now, and you know, with injuries and everything, you can slow up and stuff. And I'm not making excuses for Liam Walsh, but certainly around the time before he fought Scott Harrison, I thought this guy was going places. He was meant to fight Ricky Burns, which I think he'd beat Ricky Burns. I think he's a far more talented fighter than Ricky Burns in the lightweight division. Far more talented, of course, given that Ricky Burns has achieved more in his career. You know, he fought and beat Kevin Mitchell, who I think Liam Walsh could beat. You know, Ricky Burns has gone on to be a 2-time world champion. And now he's fighting to be a three-time world champion. But if you talk about Liam Walsh, nobody knows much about Liam Walsh. So I don't know if it's about promotions with Liam Walsh. I don't know if it's to do with, of course, the injuries, the inconsistency. And I don't know what he's like as an individual away from boxing. I don't know what he's like, what he thinks of the sport. If he's one of these guys who loves the sport of boxing, I don't know. He's one of these guys. I've interviewed him only once on my channel, and it was a pleasure to talk to the young man. But I think he's a talented fighter, and I really hope that tonight is a night that he gets out of this British and Commonwealth nonsense, moves into European and world class, really steps up and really gets the opportunity to really display his talent. I want to see Liam Walsh out this fight. I want to get a good win. He's fighting a guy against Troy. Can't remember the guy's last name. Troy somebody, but you know. But I want him to win this fight tonight and then fight again in the next couple of months again and get himself on the road of fighting consistently, injury-free, and let's see him fighting European honours and getting in the world mix. Liam Walsh, top fighter, and I really got a lot of faith in the guy. I just hope that, again, injuries don't become a problem with Liam Walsh. So shout out to Liam Walsh. Got to give him a big shout. And if there's anybody who watches my show on Bay Laureate TV and has got connections with Liam Walsh and could set it up for me to be able to talk to Liam Walsh and do a one-on-one interview with him, I would love to. Really would love to. I think he's a cracking fighter. Okay, enough of that. Topping the bill. We all know him well here on Bay Laureate TV. We were the first to interview this man when he made his professional debut. Hughie Lewis Fury. Yes, he fights tonight as well against Fred Kassi. What can I say about Lewis? Hughie Lewis Fury. I think he's a top quality fighter. A lot of people talking about him, and as soon as you say Hughie Fury, talk about Anthony Joshua, and you know he's ducking Anthony Joshua. Let's get something categorically clear here. Hughie Fury and his father is Peter Fury. They're on their own journey, and they, you know, I like the way Peter Fury is building Hughie's career, and he's not just they're just picking easy opponents and you know, blow out 2 rounds, fighting guys that have got durability, guys who can take a good shot and give rounds. This is the way you develop a fighter. Guys who are going to take your best shot and come back at you. Guys who are going to slip your punches and counter and make you miss, make you pay. Guys who just not just coming up for the payday, but actually looking to win. So Hughie Fury again fights another opponent. His last fight, he fought Dominic Quinn, who'd never been knocked out, and he went the points with Dominic Quinn. We didn't get to see that fight because the incident, the situation with Chris Bute Jr. and Nick Blackwell. And congratulations to Nick Blackwell on his recovery. So good to hear that he's back, you know, and with us and healthy and well. So really important about that. I had to mention that, and shout out to Nick Blackwell. Wishing you continued speedy recovery, and look to speaking to you soon, champ. Then Chris Bute Jr. So we didn't get to see that, and the telecast was kind of stopped by that. So we didn't get to see Hughie Fury put on what I heard was a masterclass against Dominic Quinn. Dominic Quinn, very experienced heavyweight, couldn't get close to Hughie Fury, and reports say that it was a complete shutout. One of the things that I like to see in a boxer is a good left jab, and especially in the heavyweight division where, you know, one punch can turn everything around. The left jab is a key, and Hughie Fury's got a fantastic, excellent left jab. That left jab can shut down a guy's attack very quickly, because if you can put that in a guy's face all night long, you know, you're deterring a guy coming forward, deterring a guy, set up his attacks. And of course, you can be defensive with the left jab, you know, keeping the guy off you. You can always use the left jab to set up your own punches as well. Hughie Fury puts his combinations very good together, to body to head, got good movement, not just straight up. He's got good upper body movement as well. He's got good footwork as well. Hughie Fury puts his punch together again very well. Against Fred Kassi, interesting fight. If you look at the form book, Fred Kassi went toe-to-toe with Chris Arreola. Took Arreola's best shots. And a lot of people think that Kassi beat Arreola. I would agree. He then fought, was it Gerald Washington? Or was it Brazil? I think it's Brazil he fought. And even then, Brazil, again, got into a toe-to-toe with Kassi. and left himself exposed a lot of the time. And that was a tough, hard fight as well for Brazil. The difference with tonight's fight is that Fred Kassi is a guy who's going to come to win. He's not a guy who's going to take a punch and fall over. Even against Amir Mansour, who is a big puncher heavyweight with that left hand. And the left hand and the right hook is just as powerful as well. Even against Amir Mansour, Mansour took 7 rounds to take out Fred Kassi, and even then that was a big, it wasn't left hand, it was the right hook that took out Fred Kassi and laid him out cold. So you know, Mansour's all about brute strength and power, getting forward and landing as many punches as possible. Fury Star's a little different, and I think tonight we will see a boxing masterclass again by Fury, because I think what we're going to see is him using the jab, frustrating Fred Kassi from the outside with the jab, big right hands and left hook, and shots to the body. If there's any weakness about Fred Kassi, I think it's to the body. If Fury can prevent and stop Kassi fighting on the inside and keep him outside on the jab, lots of movement, tie him up on the inside, I think Hughie can win this fight. He can win this fight very easily and make it look like a mismatch. The guys that fought Kassi, whether it be Mansour, Brazil, and Arreola, none of the 3 guys have got a left jab, not to that extent that Hughie Fury has, and the footwork. So Brazil and Brazil is a tall guy, but he hasn't got a great left jab. Where somebody like I think Hughie has got that. So I expect to see Hughie, you know, box sensibly against Kassi. Maybe stop him. Don't know if he'll stop him. Maybe stop him. But the one thing Hughie cannot afford to do against even someone like Fred Kassi, and this is the heavyweight division, Kassi has a way of being able to counter. He's got a 1-2, so he kind of rolls and throws a right hand over the top when you're coming onto him. When you come onto Kassi, he's a very I call him a reactive fighter. So he reacts off of what you throw at him. And when you get to mid range with someone like Kassi, where he's got shorter arms, that's where he likes to go to work. He likes to let you throw barrages his punches and catch you when you're throwing your shots. Did that a lot against Dominic Brazil. So Fury's just got to watch that and just keep Kassi on the outside and just use a jab, just box, and the openings will come, because Kassi will get a little adventurous at times, and that's where I think that Hughie can nail him. But you know, a lot of people say Hughie's not a big puncher, but some of the guys Hughie's fought, like Rudenko and Dominic Wing, they're 2 fights there against guys who take a great shot, never been knocked out. Even Lucas Brown, who fought Rudenko, you know, Lucas Brown hit Rudenko with his best shots, couldn't move him. So, and a lot of people think Rudenko beat Lucas Brown. So when you talk about Hughie Fury, you talk about punch power, also take into consideration the guys he's fighting, and take into consideration the durability of the guys he's fighting, the experience of the guys he's fighting. So shout out to Hughie Fury for tonight. Wishing you all the best, champ, and expect you to lift the WBO Intercontinental title tonight, which would be good for you. And onward and upwards. Next fight, another man who's well known to the station and recently was on Boxing Hangout with us on Bayloric TV. Edward Chambers, fast Edward Chambers, who to a lot of boxing, I won't say boxing fans, but people who've just started watching the game and really not aware of Eddie Chambers and his experience. Very good fighter, Eddie Chambers. You know, great boxing skill and talent. A lot of people talking about it. Tonight is his night to showcase those talents. Eddie, 6'1" versus Gerald Washington, who's 6'6". Bear in mind, Washington went the distance against Amir Mansour. No, he didn't go the distance. Mansour, wasn't that the fight where Mansour's jaw got broken? Yeah, Mansour's jaw got broken. But Washington, was it Washington? Was it the Washington fight? Washington and Brazil, I can't even remember which one it is. Yeah, it was the Washington fight. I corrected. It was the Washington fight where he got his jaw broken against Washington. But Gerald Washington is a big guy, but I don't think he's very skilled. I think if him and Eddie Chambers was the same height and the same weight, it'd be a complete mismatch. The only thing that Gerald Washington's got in this fight is his size. That's it. He's just a big guy, right? And he doesn't mind getting on the front foot and throwing the right hand. But boxing fundamentals, Gerald Washington doesn't have a great left jab. Gerald Washington's got a big right hand, and that's what Eddie Chambers has to be careful of, because he's naturally fighting a bigger guy again. But apart from that, once Washington has got stamina issues, he's got really bad stamina issues there. Let's hope he's worked on it for this fight, because if he hasn't against a guy like Eddie Chambers, who we think he might blow out, if Chambers can be sharp, he can win this fight by unanimous decision or even stop Washington late. If Eddie Chambers is going anywhere in the heavyweight division, he needs to get past Washington. If he's talking about fighting the likes of Wilder in the future, you know, Eddie Chambers has fought the who's who in the heavyweight division, from Povetkin to Klitschko. You know, he's fought some of the best in the world, and I believe he is one of the best fighters in the world. He's got the ability, he's got the skills. This fight, you know, the only thing that makes it interesting is that Washington size. Washington cannot fight off the back foot, and I think if Eddie can take this fight into the second half of the fight, make Washington put out a lot of punches, make Washington miss, make him pay, and make him miss, make him pay. And Washington's a guy that he can hit, can catch cleanly. He's got little defense. Like I said, what Washington has is the big guy, and if you let him get on top of you, he'll bully you. But against a guy like Eddie Chambers, who's an experienced heavyweight, who's in my top 10 heavyweights without a doubt, got a lot more skill than a lot of the heavyweights in the top 10 division, where he doesn't have to rely on, he can't just rely on his strength because he's a smaller guy. He has to use footwork, boxing ability, boxing brain. And this is a fight that with, you know, Chambers has been with Peter Fury, he's been with James Elliott Bashir, and now he's with Coach Anthony, who thinks, he said, Coach Anthony is a very underrated trainer. Tonight's an opportunity for Coach Anthony to show what he can do on the big stage. You know, big stage. Just hope the fight is televised. I think it is on the big stage. You know, against an unbeaten fighter. So for me, I think Eddie Chambers can win this fight. Of course, he's going to watch out for big punches, but I think Eddie Chambers is in a class of his own, and I think he's a far better boxer technically than Joe Washington, who came from American football. So this is a fight that I expect Eddie Chambers to win, and win convincingly. And let's put it this way: if this fight goes to the judges' scorecards and Eddie Chambers has not put a beating on Gerald Washington, expect to see Eddie Chambers get robbed, because Gerald Washington is, he's the unbeaten fighter. He's the guy that I would say is more marketable, and so Eddie, I think, will know this. So Eddie's got to ensure, for me, he's got to win this fight in points. You know, with Brazil and Washington, they're two guys that have fought fights. You think, did you win that fight? Areola's another. So I think, Eddie's going in there. But he's got to stop. I think he's got to stop Washington personally. And if you're going to stop Washington, I think it will be in the second half of the fight, late on. But good luck tonight, Eddie. You've got the skills. This is a night that you've got to show the boxing world that you are a serious man to be contended with in this stage of your career. So, some more fights to talk about. We have, let's think, Bute versus, no, let's talk about Degale, James Degale, who I've been saying for a long time, I think is the best middleweight in the world. He's going to fight against Medina tonight. Medina reminds me of Marcus Maidana. He's got that sort of style where, he gets close to you, wants to crowd you. Typical Mexican style, get close to you and throw lots of punches. And we know Medina has got some form of a punch there. Knocked out the previously unbeaten, what's his name? Oh, God, from the Mayweather camp. Not Badou Jack. Oh, who did he fight again? Leon Love. Fought Love, knocked Love out. Love was moving. This guy just tracked him down, hands up, tracked him down, and then landed his shots and knocked Love out. Then I believe Jack fought him, the current WBC. He's WBC champion. I think Jack is WBC champion. Where's my head? He beat Jack, knocked him out. Nice combination, knocked out Medina. So now you've got Degale fighting him, who I think is the best in the world at super middleweight. He's got to stamp his authority tonight in this fight. I believe that this is a good fight because Medina's going to be coming forward and Degale's going to be counter punching with his nice straight left hands and combination, nice flashy punches. I'd like to see Degale actually turn his punches over instead of slapping. Listen, I think Degale's a good puncher. I'd like to see him actually throw his punches over correctly, really let his shots go. You know, I want to see fast combinations, moving to the sides and hitting this guy with good combinations. Medina, I think Degale can get him out of there. I think Degale can get him out of there. Halfway point. This guy, with a guy like this, Medina, it's just you make one mistake with a guy like Medina, and you have your back, you know, looking up at the lights. Degale, one of the things that always makes me feel very uncomfortable about Degale is that he's confident. I like that. And he's got a little bit cockiness, but there's always that bit about Degale that I think, do you come into fight overconfident? You know, you're so cocky and you know, you got a swag. I like Degale swag. I always liked his swag, but it's always that thing about him where I always feel that he's just borderline. Are you too swag to the point where you're overconfident and you're going to leave yourself open to get caught? Now, Degale's got a good chin. I think he looked good against Bute, looked good against Gerald. I want to see him put a performance on against Medina and march forward against Badou Jack. Interesting fight. I want to see Degale not staying in the pocket with Medina. I want to see him moving laterally, letting his shots go. The only question mark about Degale, again, is that stamina of his does fade in fights. And my only concern about Degale there, again, his stamina is whether Medina will still be around. Based on what Badou Jack did to Medina, he might not be around, and Degale could win this fight inside the distance, six rounds, I think. Again, has to be careful against a guy like Medina. Could walk him down to the ropes, and if Medina is able to close the range down and land hard, who knows? But I'm going with Degale on that. And a big fight, Badou Jack versus Bute. When I first thought about Badou Jack versus Bute, I thought to myself, wow, this fight is a good fight. Bute coming off his win, a loss against James Degale, the best I've seen Bute fight in a long while. Very good fight, but I thought Bute would give Degale a tough fight anyway. Degale looked great in the fight as well. Badou Jack, different style, orthodox fighter. I think there's a southpaw. Badou Jack, underrated fighter. A lot of people said to me from the UK, oh, George Groves is going to beat Badou Jack. I said, don't be surprised if Badou Jack drops George Groves. Did it in the first round. Badou Jack can punch. He's a puncher boxer. Let's not forget he's a puncher boxer or boxer puncher. So he's got some dig there, but he's been fighting some quality opposition. People go back to Derek Edwards' fight. He got chinned by Derek Edwards. Could have been a mistake. You know, anyone can get caught on the night and get caught with a shot and get knocked out. So was it a mistake? George Groves, the big puncher in the super middleweight division, caught Jack square, and he was able to keep going. And Bute's chin, good chin. You've seen George Carfroch really got them, do a demolition job on Bute. But then there were rumors that he had an infected toe, his foot was injured. I think Johnny Nelson mentioned that at one point. Jack, I think Jack, when I first heard about this fight, I thought to myself, you know what? Bute is going to win this fight. He's going to win the title. Then I thought to myself, you know what? That last fight against Degale was a tough fight. And he's not getting any younger. And, you know, how is he at the weight? I think Badou Jack is a strong super middleweight. He fights behind a very tight defense. He punches very hard. I'm going to go with Badou Jack on this one. I'm going to go with the guy that I think is fresher. And I think Badou Jack might hit a little harder than James Degale. I actually think this. And I think that I'm going to go with Badou Jack stoppage against Bute. I think it's going to be a great fight. Bute's got the skills. He's got the skills to beat Jack, I think. But I'm going to go with timing. And I think Badou Jack's got this time right. I'm going with Badou Jack. middle to late round stoppage. I think Badou Jack might just punch a little harder than James Degale, and may have a better technique in terms of the way he drives his punches through than Degale, who tends to slap a bit with his punches. So I'm going to go with Badou Jack in a good fight where he's going to do a lot of catching of blows, a lot of catch and counter, or catch and shoot from Badou Jack. And he's becoming better as a fighter. And I think the Mayweather influence is helping as well. So those are my thoughts on those fights tonight. And now I'm going to go to the people in the room. I think there's a lot of people in the room. Forgive me, I wanted to get all my predictions out and thoughts first. Now I'll go back and talk to people in the room. Okay, let's see. Can Degale beat Jack, says JD? Yeah, I think he can. What do you think of Hughie versus Kassi, Ingram, boxing enthusiast? Kassi got robbed against Brazil, and I felt he should have won against Ariola. Yeah, I said 2 fights there. Kassi, a good fighter, but I think those guys you've mentioned don't use their length and don't use their jab as good as Hughie Fury does. And I don't want to keep going on as if I'm kind of like favoriting Hughie Fury, but it's what I like, what I see. Good left jab. I like a guy who's got a good left jab that knows how to use distance and timing. And Hughie Fury's got that in abundance. Got a great left jab, and that can shut down these shorter guys. Not even tall guys. A great left jab can win you a lot of fights on the jab alone. And I think he's not only puts his left jab, body shots, and comes upstairs as well. Hughie Fury, very good fighter. I think Kassi is going to make it a good fight. We'll see how far Hughie's come in his development stage, and does he use the jab the way we need to see him use the jab tonight. I would like to see Jack versus Andre Duval. That'd be a good fight. I do agree. Boxing business, exactly. Good learning fights is better than fighting people who are going to fall over in the first rounds as boxing enthusiasts. Tom CFC says, what do you think of Hughie Fury versus Joshua? I think Hughie Fury is a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. I think Joshua might just be a more powerful fighter, powerful puncher. In Boxing Enthusiast says, Joshua's only chance against Hughie is to get him out there early. Rudenko bust up Brown's face. Is Boxing Enthusiast. He said he continues by going, I thought Rudenko edged that fight too. Tom CFC says, I hope Eddie Chambers get knocked out. Oh, that's not nice, is it? Boxing Enthusiast says, Chambers beat Dimitrenko and went into the 12th versus Vlad. I think Chambers unanimous decision is Washington. I do too. What is Washington's chin like? Seems pretty decent. He took Mansour's punches, took Cassie's punches. Seems to have a decent chin. Peter Perkins says, Washington's best chance is Eddie takes his daughter somewhere and goes AOL. Boxing Enthusiast says, Hearn would probably put Joshua in with Washington if Washington wins by robbery. LOL. Yeah, sounds good. Hearn likes American bums. Boxing Enthusiast continues. Peter Perkins says he likes his washed up boxers from America also. So he's agreeing with Boxing Enthusiast. Boxing Enthusiast continues. Kevin Johnson springs to mind. Boxing Enthusiast, James Degale boxes Medina easily, in my opinion. Yeah, as long as Degale doesn't get overconfident and gets his distance correct, doesn't allow Medina to get on the inside of him and start landing punches. Boxing Enthusiast says Medina does have a punch in him, so Degale has got to be alert and not switch off like he has done in the past, just like I've said there. Boxing Enthusiast says Degale late stoppage and going to the 8th round. I agree with that with you. Cropendale 9 says, I'm tipping Bute to win tonight. Wouldn't blame you there. How has Bute got another world title shot after a loss? Because I think Bute's got a high profile, looked good against James Degale, and looked great on Badou Jack's record. I think Badou Jack is a bigger puncher and throws his punches better than James Degale. I'm not saying he's a better skill fighter. I just think Badou Jack might be a slightly bigger puncher because he turns his punches over more. Jack is tailor-made for Bute by KO. So it's the Boxing Insight. Interesting. Well, we'll see Boxing Insight, because we'll see tonight whether Badou Jack has improved. A lot of people told me George Groves was going to KO Badou Jack. I told a lot of people Badou Jack is hugely underrated and he'll drop George Groves and beat George Groves. So, the proof is in the pudding. Andre Gerald would have been a better fight, says a Boxing Enthusiast. Agreed. The Boxing Insight, Darrell looked terrible last night. Didn't see it, sorry. Good Boxing Enthusiast says it would be a good gauge on a potential Degale fight. I agree. I know the fight went a distance, said Boxing Enthusiast. Tom CFC says, don't ask me. But Mikey BA says, sup boys. Boxing Insight says, Darrell has the natural ability in the world, but never grasped the fundamentals. I think Darrell at the world level lacks world class mentality. I think what he does against lower level opposition is great, but when he gets to the world title, something seems to go wrong with Gerald. Look at the Degale fight. Look at the Frotch fight. I think his mentality is very similar to George Groves. Does well at British European level. When you go world class, seems to not quite be there. Marky BA says, let me just get this off to my chest. Go ahead then, Marky BA. Let's go. Ain't nobody hit harder than life. Yes, great. Boxing Enthusiast says, shame Andre's talent fighter. Boxing Enthusiast says, Andrew got a first round KO, didn't he? I didn't see. Let's keep going. Does anyone give Fred Cassie a chance against Hughie? Not really. I think the guys that Fred Cassie fought against have been okay, but none of them have got a left jab like Hughie Fury. And I think the left jab is the key in this fight tonight. Let's keep going. Let's talk about what's going on tonight. Let's talk about. Let's go. I had Darrell number 2 behind Degale at 168. I said Degale's number 1 super middleweight in the world for me. Have you seen says Boxing Enthusiast Ramirez as the number 1 super middleweight? I think they were talking about Ramirez fighting Gennady Golovkin, and Gennady Golovkin's team said that he needs to fight somebody with some big names. But arguably, I'd say that Arthur Abrams a much bigger fight name than any fight buddy Gennady Golovkin's fought in his record. Just putting that out there. If this Medina cops Degale being sloppy in the corner, it could get interesting. That's my point here. Medina's in this fight. Because Degale has a habit of switching off in fights. He also has a habit of down the middle stretches of fights. That's where he seems to lose concentration. He let Darrell back into the fight. But I think he learned his lesson from the Groves fight, where he kind of switched off in the middle phases. But this guy's going to keep Medina, going to keep coming. And this guy, I'm telling you now, James Degale on the outside, I don't think anyone beats James Degale from the outside. But from the inside, I want you guys to go back to a fight where Degale fought for the European title. And, you know, given Degale still had the injury with his feet, I think his ankle or something was wrong with the injury. And he was able to turn his punches properly. But he used to fight a lot of fights off the ropes. The fight he fought for the European title, if I'm correct, that was a fight where that guy was able to get on the inside of Degale and land shots. Medina has the perfect style. He's got the perfect style to get inside and land them punches. And if you can land one of them shots that he landed on J. Leon Love, who knows? That's what makes this fight interesting. Makes the fight interesting. Sanchez doesn't seem to be moving interested in moving GGG. He really talks about it. Only his promoter does. Listen, you got to understand the history of Abel Sanchez. The history of Abel Sanchez, he had Terry Norris. Terrible Terry Norris. Terry Norris, he wouldn't let Terry Norris move out his weight category. Okay? They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They want to clean up the middleweight division. And if you look at the middleweight division, not many fighters out there. Now, the light middleweight division, I really wish, I would pray that all the light middleweights, the 4 top light middleweights, all moved up to middleweight division. Then we'd have a middleweight division to really talk about. Hughie Fury has a chance of beating Degale. What the? Oh, right, okay. J. Leon Love tried to box on the outside but got walked down. That's my point. Now, you can't compare J. Leon Love to James Degale. James Degale, Olympic gold medalist. J. Leon Love, I don't know. And I like J. Leon Love. But J. Leon Love didn't get his tactics correct. He allowed Medina to walk him down. I don't know what Medina's like on the back foot when he's been hit back, pinged with big shots. And if Degale can come out and stand his ground and ping Medina and put him down the back foot, that would be much a much more safer game plan than coming from the outside and trying to box him from the outside, doing the Jade Leon Love approach, especially in the middle rounds. I think Degale's going to ping this guy with shots and give him lateral movement, not just moving around the ring, lateral movement. The boxing insight says Jade Leon Love is awful. That's why. Okay. What do you think of Hughie Klitschko press conference, Ingram? Listen, see something now. Vladimir Klitschko this time round looked all business. The only thing I don't like about Vladimir Klitschko, he was giving a role, talking about role models and talking about how Fury is this and Fury is that, and then he swears and tells him to F off or F you, Fury. So that was quite hilarious. And when you think about Vladimir Klitschko, that just sums Vladimir Klitschko up, really. Says one thing and does something else. Talks about being a role model for the sport, and then behind the scenes does a whole lot of things that are kind of un-role model-like. But anyway, he looks like he means business, and he made an error in that press conference. And the error in that press conference was, for me, to be trying to be something that he's not. He's trying to be this, he's trying to be this guy. I'm a tough guy now. I'm going to stand up I'm going to be the champion of humanity, and I'm going to put Tyson Fury in his place. Look, if we get from round 11 and 12, 10, 11 and 12, in the second fight, we've got a great fight on our hands. That's what I'll say to you now. Tyson Fury is a smart man, knows what he's doing, knows what he's about. I've said this a long time ago. Very, very, very smart. Very, very smart man. Very, very smart man. Knows exactly what he's doing. And he's getting inside Klitschko's head. Like, Klitschko has to think to himself, I got beat by a fat guy. I got beat by a fat guy. So Tyson Fury is playing all the psychological games now. See, Klitschko don't know where to look, left or right. Doesn't know what to do. So Klitschko's got to stay in the zone. I'm training. I'm going to beat Tyson Fury. I'm training. I'm going to beat Tyson Fury. So will the robot malfunction? Don't know. We'll see. The boxing side, Chamber needs to win tonight. If he gets beat, that's the end of him. Well, if he goes to points, he'll get robbed, I think. So he has to make it just so clear. Eddie Chambers is in the same sort of situation as Steve Cunningham. I don't think it's the end of Eddie Chambers if he gets beat by Washington. No, I don't believe it's the end. But I think it's real writing on the wall for Eddie Chambers. He's got to beat Washington straight up. And if they were the same size, this will be a complete mismatch. People wouldn't even be tuning in to watch it. So there. Am I staying up for fights? Yes, I will be staying up for fights. I had a late night last night. I had a few people over last night, and had a late night. Didn't finish till 5 o'clock in the morning. So there you go. Klitschko's face at times looked priceless in both press conferences. Yeah. I don't pay too much attention to press conferences, to be honest. Not with Klitschko Fury. Fury's playing all the mind games. Klitschko's having to soak it all up, and then he has to go to camp. Images of that fat guy is going around the world. Fury's putting seeds in there, and Klitschko's going to have to answer to the media about that. Then the media also digging Klitschko out about the canvas. These things are to be expected. If Klitschko does beat Fury, it is a great comeback. But even if Klitschko's head's right, does he actually believe he can beat Tyson Fury? Or does he just believe that he has to go out there now and start throwing punches and just go for it? I mean, people are saying he just has to go for it, throw punches. But everyone knows when Vladimir Klitschko was throwing punches, we do know that leaving himself open to getting caught with shots. And I think as soon as Fury hits Klitschko hard, he's got to hit him hard and early. Klitschko will revert back to form, clinging, holding for dear life, So, Ingram, what are your thoughts on Hearn Degale fallout? Don't know, not surprised. Degale not happy with Hearn. Well, has he got Ambrose Mendy? Wasn't Ambrose Mendy looking after him? If Klitschko KO's Fury in impressive fashion, it would be interesting to see if Hearn would put Joshua in with Vlad later this year. No, that would never happen. That would never happen. No. A lot of people, this is interesting. This is very interesting. All those people that say Vladimir Klitschko KO's Tyson Fury will say, I've got to say this. Those people say that Vladimir Klitschko KO's Tyson Fury. They actually then think that Vladimir Klitschko had a bad night and then view Vladimir Klitschko as potentially the best heavyweight in the world. Let me ask you the question. Those people are saying Vlad KO's Fury. Do they also say that Vlad KO's Anthony Joshua as well? And if Fury does beat Vlad and knock Vlad out, do you then recognize Vladimir Klitschko as the, do you then recognize Tyson Fury as the #1 heavyweight in the world? Very interesting. Boxing enthusiasts, by the way, I think Fury KO's in this time. To be honest, I would be surprised if Vladimir just quit on his stool, to be honest. Joshua is going backwards since the White fight for opposition. White knocks Martin and Brazil out. Let's see what White does in his comeback. We'll see. We'll see how he prepares himself, whether he's got a world-class mentality, whether he is going to get himself properly in the right shape, whether he's going to have the right strategy, and on the big arena, can he perform and win a fight? That's what we need to see. And that whether that world-class punching power, whether he's got a world-class punching power, or he's just a heavy-handed guy but doesn't knock the top guys out. All those questions remain to be seen with Dillian Whyte. I think that's about it, really. Yeah, I heard about the announcement against Brazil versus Joshua. Well, he's unbeaten. I think he's better than Gerald. Well, I think he's better than Gerald Washington. But Brazil got dropped a few times in his last fight. I think he was gifted a win. I would like to see Anthony Joshua versus Amir Mansour. That's a fight I would like to see. Amir Mansour, Anthony Joshua. That's a fight. Oh, yes. Briggs versus Dimitrenko on Hayes undercard. Yeah, Hay don't want to fight Briggs. He really doesn't. So he puts Dimitrenko in there. It's a good fight for Briggs. If Briggs doesn't get Dimitrenko out in the first 3 or 4 rounds, yeah, Briggs is going to have to be in great shape. I mean, his body looks great, but what's the tank like? What is the tank like? Good fight for Shannon Briggs, though. But Dimitrenko, if he beats Dimitrenko is nothing like Hay. Dimitrenko's tall, long. Hay's a lot shorter, faster, explosive, one-punch knockout artist. Well, a heavyweight, he's more of a combination puncher. I wouldn't look into the Demore fight too much. So, yeah, I think that's about it. So, shout out to Eddie Chambers, Hugh Fury, both guys. All the best for you tonight. Wish you all well. James Degale as well. Again, big shout out to Liam Walsh. Love that guy. I think he's a top fighter. And I'm fed up with him fighting at British Commonwealth level. Needs to fight at European world level. Get it together, Liam Walsh. Win the fight tonight. I think he's such a top quality fighter. So I think that's about it for me. Apologies if I've missed out anything today. Still really tired. But, yep. I think I've given my previews for today. I should be back tonight. Yeah, I'll be back tonight. I don't know if I'll do a show in between Hugh Fury's fight and the Copper Box, and then into the US show. I'm not sure yet, but probably will do. So I'll be back then, and then we can review Degale versus Medina and Badou Jack versus Bute. I think it's a great night of boxing tonight. It really is. Some real good fights on the bill tonight. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. This has been Ingram Johnson, Baylor TV Boxing Channel, and we are